12 Things I Learned from Painting Blue Aphrodite in Pisces. I need to be tidier and more organized when I'm working on a piece of art, and I have to do this before I start the project. Here's the studio table halfway through Blue Aphrodite, and what's cluttering my space includes salt that I only used once. What if I had knocked it over? And the slight contortions I needed to avoid it were time wasters and made me tired. Use it, then put it away. I have to stop painting anyway when I've sprinkled salt on wet watercolor. Put it away. A box of watercolor paints that I wasn't even using in this project. It has a place in the cabinet. I was just in too much of a hurry to get started to take time to tidy up. That jar of micron pens. I only use them to sign my name on a painting, and these are all black anyway. If I had thought about the painting, dark blues, I would have known I would never use them in this picture. The tripod, well, okay, this was from an online class, and I often use the phone as my internet, so I'll concede there was a use for it on the table. It probably would not have seemed like clutter if I'd put the box of paints away and freed up some space. A glue stick? The base drawing, done in waterproof colored pencil, needs a lighter hand. I'm still in the old school mode of pressing hard with a pencil. I'm too heavy-handed with both pencils and water on my brush. It's too easy to drop wet paint where it doesn't belong, like blue on the face. Oh no. This is a problem all through my work, but it shows up at the very beginning. I need a sign that says, "Lighten up," on my studio wall. Along with a lighter touch, remember that the base drawing does not need shading. Probably not at all. I need to respect that drawing for what it is, a map to take me to a finished painting and not the place to experiment with finishing techniques. That's what a sketchbook's for. Once the color has been released with water, a little shading is okay. In fact, this bit of bringing out the personality of the subject helped keep me focused and interested in her throughout the whole process. Glad I showed good instincts here. I'm pleased to see that I'm showing a lighter touch with the hair. I was still experimenting. I was full of doubts as I added color to the fish, hair, and clothing, and I struggled with just which different blues I was going to use. I like to be able to change my mind if something speaks to me, but I wish I'd spent a little more time creating a color swatch before I ever began. You could use the tip of an X-Acto knife to scrape out a waterproof pencil mark. I had to do that in her eyes that had noticeably smaller irises and pupils. Pan pastels. I already knew I liked them. Now I love them, and I think I will use them to create glowing skin in any watercolor portrait I do, with pencils or with paints. Wow, wow, wow. By the way, here I have added the stars of Pisces. I considered putting them on her face or her garments, but I didn't like how either one of them looked. I used a bit of tracing paper to draw the constellation, and then I could push it around the painting, and in the end, this was the best of a bunch of bad choices. I want to do a whole zodiac on my own, and I'll make sure the constellation goes on the base drawing. I very much liked the sleepy eyes in the reference photos with their dramatic 1960s makeup. I kept thinking of Jean Shrimpton, the British supermodel of that era. I also exaggerated her widow's peak because I just liked it. You can actually see that as far back as the base drawing. But those heavy, sleepy eyes took her from a jejune Aphrodite to the full, sensual temptress she is. Also, I thought her garment was boring, so I added some little blue crosses to give it a bit of pattern. A little white around a dark painting really makes it pop. So here she is, Blue Aphrodite, ready to be matted. I hope you liked her.